Man, listen, if you guys were around the earlier era of YouTube, around my time in particular, you would know exactly who Key and Peele are. They are so iconic, man. The second I say hi on Pot News, y'all should know exactly who I'm talking about. The dynamic duo.
I wish I were high on pot news.
Even before it was Key and Peele, Keegan-Michael Key was on Mad TV, I think. Just awesome dudes, hilarious guys, and they were a powerhouse. And their show could do no wrong. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but it's been a topic of discussion even within my own family about the duo. Why hasn't Keegan-Michael Key been in any of Jordan Peele's movies? Well, today, ladies and gentlemen, we have the answer. And it comes from somebody who had, let's say, the displeasure of working with Keegan-Michael Key. And it's not what you think. It's not because he's some horrible person, but I'm not going to get too far into it. I want this one comic to explain it herself on how and why the entire relationship of Keegan-Michael Key and Jordan Peele is probably fractured or possibly even ruined. Let's check this out.
Right. Well, I'll be using code names tonight because I don't want to get sued, which means you're getting some really hot celebrity goss. So, this is a story about open secrets in Hollywood and people who don't warn you about things and finding out the hard way. So, before I even did podcasts, I did comedy in New York, and I got headhunted to move to LA, and I think that I always thought, this is the job that will move me there, but there'll be so much opportunity in Hollywood, which is now a dead industry. If you're thinking about it, think about something else. But at the time, 2020s, I'm like, this is great. And I had just done a show for Comedy Central that was starring me and my friend who was in a movie with Ryan Gosling recently called, what's the movie called? Project Hail Mary, yes. So my friend Milana Weintraub, shout out, she and I made 3 sketches for Comedy Central. They went really well, and then COVID happened. And so we had this big dream of getting a TV show. And it really got dashed. But, I realized I liked making sketch comedy. I liked having the big production behind it. I was tired of being like a self-starter. I wanted to sell out. And I got the opportunity. A few of my friends who work for different television shows came to me and they said, do you want to make a sketch comedy show, your star vehicle, where, it'll be you and you'll be writing about, the media and misinformation, but through the lens of sketch comedy. And I was like, yes, but I need someone to help usher me in. And so one of those friends said, hey, I've got a great person to give you this opportunity. He is, and I don't think this is too shady, I think it's true, the less successful half of a comedy duo that was prolific in the 2010s.
Now, let's just stop it right there, right? Let's stop it right there. The less successful half of a comedy duo from the 2010s. That sounds like Key and Peele. Let's continue.
Perhaps, I think their code names could be Lock and Banana.
Lock and Banana? Well, a key unlocks a lock and a banana gets peeled. Okay, so we're obviously talking about Key and Peele, right? So this is a rising comic coming up the ranks before COVID came through and fucked everything, before the writers' strike, before all the fuckery, before when the country was once a different place, right? So she's rising up in the ranks and she gets this great opportunity to work with Keegan-Michael Key, the big Key. But I wanted to point that one thing out when she said the less successful of two in the late 2010s, right? That's true. I mean, it's not a bad thing. It's just it's a fact. Jordan Peele is way more successful than Keegan-Michael Key. When do we ever see him in some little random TV show or some random shit? Why is that, though? That's the main question you want to ask. Why? Because it's like you have this partner that you can do no wrong with, doing great in life. Why the fuck not wouldn't we help each other out? Let's continue.
And Locke is gonna use his name to carry you to the forefront of pop culture. And so we came up with a pitch. We practiced it. It was like so good. I mean, like not only is there a keynote presentation, but there are videos. We get one of the people pitching with us to go on Pierce Morgan and force him to say the tagline from the show unwittingly. We are selling the show all over town. And you know, we get a few offers, which is like a feeling that like is unlike any other, where you're like, we are wanted, like it's coming together. And during the pitch process, Locke gets his dream. He's asked to host SNL. And
All right, so just some more confirmation to know that we're talking about Key, right? Keegan-Michael Key hosted episode 1 million something on SNL, right? I don't know. But he definitely hosted SNL, and that's just all. So everything's riding high at this point of time. But I want to point something out, right? Jordan Peele's first breakout movie was Get Out. And that's all I'm going to say. His first real big breakout movie was Get Out. Apparently he had been working on it for years, right? There is some crazy similarities between Get Out and what we're about to hear right now. That's all I'm going to say.
Does, and we have this agreement. We're like, and you're going to say the name of the show. You're just going to put it in there at the end when you're doing your thank yous at the end of SNL. And we should have known then that, like, he didn't say it. And it was, like, the only thing he had to say. But there were some things he said that were, like, weird, and thanking his wife, who becomes a weird main character in this whole story. And so my agent at the time calls me, and she goes, how is pitching going? How do people feel about Locke? And I'm like, oh, my God, they love him. Everybody loves Locke. And she's like, that's great, that's great. How do they feel about his wife, who is now somehow the executive producer on my show? And I'm like, you know, I hadn't really thought about it. I don't think people like her very much. And she's like, yeah, that's what I'm hearing. And I'm like, okay, so like, are you saying like we're not gonna be able to sell this? Or she's like, listen, people like you and they like Locke. It'll come together. And so I forgive this sort of moment. But you know, that should have been the red flag where I said, hey, maybe we like pause this. We haven't sold it yet. We're all still free. Let's just recalibrate. Not me. I was like, no, because it's more important to have a celebrity attached. So we keep going.
And that was the biggest red flag, in my opinion, ever, okay? The wife. Out of nowhere, she's the executive producer. And mind you, Keegan-Michael Key is the star, not this random lady. He got on this project. How is it all of a sudden his work becomes her work? And that's where we're starting to see the light. Okay, people don't really like his wife too much. She forces herself onto projects. There might be a reason why Key and Peele aren't really working together. But it gets way worse. Let's continue.
I was like, no, because it's more important to have a celebrity attached. So we keep going. We get 2 offers. One, kind of mid. The other from a major studio that I won't name because I don't want to be sued. But you can imagine that their main character is vermin, if you think about it. If he was in your house, you wouldn't like that. But if he was at a theme park, you might be excited to see him. So we signed the deal. We are locked in. We are getting several figures. It's all gonna happen. It's gonna happen. And so I'm celebrating one day. It's the Olympics that didn't happen in 2020. It's the weird 2021, and I love the Olympics. And so I'm waiting for a burrito to come to my door, and I get a phone call from, like, unknown, which is probably a bill collector, I think. But hey, I'm riding high. So I answer the call, and it is from Banana's wife. And Banana's wife says, hey, I just had dinner with Locke and his wife. They say they're doing a show with you. And I said, yeah. And I, again, don't know how she got my phone number. So this seems urgent. And she says something that, like, chills go down my back. I never eat the burrito, spoiler alert. She says, I'm just calling you because I wish someone would have warned me. She does about an hour of a monologue at me about how, she thinks that his wife is like Phil Hartman's wife. That she wouldn't trust her to hold a baby.
Now, if you don't know who Phil Hartman's wife is, do a little bit of research, okay? That was a former host of Saturday Night Live. And Phil Hartman's wife famously shot him, killed him, and then shot herself. Now things are starting to come together. If you get compared to Phil Hartman's wife, that's saying something. They're comparing Keegan's wife to Phil Hartman's wife. Now it all makes sense. Listen, this woman is controlling this man's, she's controlling his life. And we all know that Keegan is just a sweet guy, just a nice guy, and he doesn't seem like he's for the bullshit or the conflict. He really doesn't seem that type of way. I think she's got a vice grip up his asshole and she's controlling him. And now it's starting to make sense about that whole Get Out movie that Jordan Peele was making. Buddy, that movie's about you. Your wife is controlling your life and destroying any good thing that's happening for you. Why is it that you think that he hasn't been in any major roles? She interjects herself into everything and ruins it purposely. Bro, the last movie that Keegan-Michael Key and Jordan Peele did together was a movie named Keanu in 2016. He gets married to this witch lady, allegedly, in 2018, and ever since then, he has not been attached to any major production. But don't worry, let's continue because the story's not over. But now that we have a basis on what people think Keegan's wife is like, you're starting to get a picture. Let's continue. Oh, and by the way, Jordan Peele's wife is that funny lady with the face. I forgot her name. Let me look her up real quick. Jordan Peele wife. Yeah, Chelsea Peretti. You know, she's that comedian chick. I never even knew they were married. This is the one who called and gave the warning. Why do you think she was the one to call and give that warning in particular? It's because Jordan Peele, he already dealt with her bullshit in the past, and he said, no, you're not going to fuck my empire. You're not going to fuck my empire, even though Buddy is my friend. Hold on, though. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's finish this story.
I'm just calling you because I wish someone would have warned me. She does about an hour of a monologue at me about how, she thinks that his wife is like Phil Hartman's wife. That she wouldn't trust her to hold a baby. That she once poured alcohol on her birthday cake and this person is sober.
Wow.
And the thing I moved to LA for this job. I'm not a woo-woo person, but this woo-woo thing happened, and I do think it was like the Lord. She says to me while I'm watching the opening ceremonies, mouth agape, there's a sweaty man from Tonga, and she says, there's no accounting for how much money she's cost that black man.
God damn. It's the devil in disguise. God damn. That go and watch I Urge You. Are you guys off tonight? You guys not really doing much? What is it? Friday evening? What is it? Saturday? I'm in limbo. I don't fucking know what day it is. I know it's the weekend. Go watch Get Out real quick and then come watch this video again. That movie's about Keegan. Wow. Hold on now.
And the light above the television burned out. This is a second red flag. I should take the hint. It's not gonna happen for me. But I think, you know what? Me and Ratatouille's boss, we're gonna keep going. They don't have to be that involved. They're non-writing EPs. They're just lending their name to the project. So we start grinding on a pilot. That's the job. We are meeting, and I'll tell you, Locke is busy shooting a movie with Timothy Chalamet. a remake of some sort of property that never needed to come to fruition. Hasn't helped Timmy's career at all. And I asked my agent, I'm like, should I fly to London? Should I warn him about what I've heard? And she said, that's a grown-ass man. He chose to marry that person. Don't do it. And so we just keep writing on it. Finally, we're in pre-production. This is like May 2023. And I'm excited. We're doing like a last meeting about going through the sketches. We're all feeling good about it. And for once, the wife joins the call. She first of all, she comes on.
This is where shit gets outrageous to me. And this is where I feel like this woman is intentionally destroying this man's career. And as a big fan of Keegan being my favorite side of Key and Peele, I feel like that's fucked up. And that makes me kind of angry. But hold on.
Yells at everybody because she said she got the wrong Zoom, but everybody else was on the Zoom. Anyway, she's here to offer notes. Yeah, she has no credits without this man. Her notes are, comedy happens in threes. The letter K is funny.
The letter K is funny. Like she's literally just throwing bullshit into the mix trying to fuck this show up, bro. Comedy comes in threes? What does that mean?
This man. Her notes are, comedy happens in threes. The letter K is funny. And finally, give the audience some candy. Now, how do you implement these notes in a script that is a half hour long, has people attached, has a location, and we're all just like, sure, man, we'll add 3 Ks or something. I don't fucking know. Like one time she bragged on one of our calls about knowing Kristen Cinema. So I said, what'd that bitch have to say for herself? She did not like that. Well, she didn't like that nobody laughed or thought her ideas were good, so she threatens to sue the network. Now let me pause there because I brought a text. I brought something that was another red flag that I should have seen. This is from Dumois, an anonymous blind item that someone submitted. They said, since Locke was hosting SNL, I wanted to say, whenever I see him, I can only think of his wife.
That's fucked, bro. That's fucked. You know, I had a friend like that. I mean, they broke up. She was cheating on him, and we knew it, and he didn't fucking listen. That's infuriating, and it kind of makes people get pissed off at you. Then it makes people start talk shit about you because then they think you're kind of a fucking idiot for putting yourself in that position. I had a homie just like that, head over heel for some bitch, and she didn't even fuck with him. She was just cheating on him, and she was using him for a place to fucking stay. This is what this feels like. This is like one of our text messages talking shit about him. Even though we care about him, we're talking shit. Like, look at this fucking... Anyways, let's hear what they had to say. Whenever I see him, I can only think of his wife. That's fucked.
She has a bunch of food allergies. And she had an allergy attack about a eucalyptus plant by her table at Tribeca Grill. And then, in parentheses, on the celeb sighting list. Acting like she couldn't breathe. The plant was fake, and I showed it to her. She just said, oh, and acted totally normal after that. He was very nice about it and apologized after. He left a good tip. Bizarre, though. And so she threatens to sue the company. She threatens to sue the vermin. And so for a month, we hear nothing. We're no longer in pre-production. We're waiting around. My dreams, the thing I quit my dream job for, thinking I was going to be ushered into the pop culture memory of the United States of America, is on hold. And they get back to us after a month and they say, hey, we paid them off the project, but you have to write a whole new pilot. And I'm like, at this point, well, fuck. Like, these are all our best ideas. And also, like, they're like, one day you can perform that for the internet, but, like, we own the TV rights to that. So we do what writers do. We come back together and we write a banger script. Because we know that if the vermin has nothing, they have IP. And we write a script that is filled with Muppets. We believe that we're gonna have something worth fighting for. And, you know, we know that the strike is coming. It's in all of the papers. We all know that, like, there is this entertainment breakdown on the way, but we have like a few more weeks to just shoot the fucking pilot. And right before it happens, you know, Bob Iger's come back, Bobby Gare, and he's got My Dream in his hand. And he cancels every single show in production. And then we all go on strike. And so that is just a project that I could not talk about, that was never announced,
That's fucked. You know, she came in like a surgical knife, like a precision missile, and fucked it up for him. You know, and I think she's been doing this for Keegan for years. That's why bro is not a part of nothing. That's why nobody even sees his fucking face. Meanwhile, Jordan Peele is a goddamn writer. You see his face more often. Shout out Jordan Peele, though. I love his shit. Fuck. I still haven't seen Sinners. Ain't that crazy? Anyway. Jordan Peele wrote that, right? That wasn't Jordan. Never mind. I'm getting it mixed up. I think that was Coogler. I'm getting it fucked up. Never mind. I'm gonna cut that out. Anyway, so I'm gonna move forward, right? So she's been effectively fucking this man's career. And another YouTuber, his name is Poetic Flacco, he had pointed out some interesting things in this man's life that kind of lend to that theory. Check this out. This was just some fucking ad, right, that he did. Mind you, Keegan, this dude's been he's been known forever, right? Before this lady's existed. So he was doing some type of advertisement. Look at what they say. He said, the promotion says, had a wonderful time speaking with Keegan-Michael Key about the creative genius of his partner, the Ellie Key, who came up with this hilarious concept for the partnership with whatever the fuck that brand is. If you don't know who Keegan 7C's is, click the link in the story. The fact that they're even crediting her, who the fuck is that lady? Who is she? We don't know her. It was her genius idea. Oh, Lord. Meanwhile, his face is plastered everywhere. But it kind of connects to what the comic was saying. You know, he thanked his wife at the SNL Awards, and he didn't promote their show. This over here, they promote his wife heavily, and they put him as a side character. This is a reoccurring theme, folks. Let me show you another thing. This is internal messages that go around talking about Keegan. Another one. Check this out. This is a friend, apparently. It says, okay, I'm glad. I'm not the only one on the hate train. He is estranged from most, if not all, of his old friends and most of his family. And most of us blame her. The first minute he brought her to Detroit, she was cutting him off from people he knew before under the guise of protecting him from people that want to use him for his fame. Sure, his oldest friends and his brother are using him. Excuse me? It makes me so sad for him and furious at her. Listen, this is a succubus, folks. This is a succubus sucking all the life out of Keegan's career. Oh, and if you didn't know who she was, this is the lady right here. It looks like a wonderful fucking lady, ain't she? Oh my God, she looks like a ghost. Ugh. I will say Keegan's taste in women, I don't know, bud. I don't know, bud. Listen, that's just me personally. If I saw her on the street, I would look through her. I'm sorry. That's mean. I wouldn't realize she existed if I was passing through anyway, you guys let me know what you think, man. Free my boy Michael Key. Get him out of that sunken place immediately. Please. Get the tea glass and break him out of there or something. I'll see y'all soon.